All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. We will roll straight into questions for you and kick things off with Kelly Crandall. Go ahead, Kelly.
Thank you. Hey, Noah, I just wanted to get your thoughts on this weekend at Michigan. Officials are putting down resin like what was in Nashville and not the PJ1. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on using resin instead of PJ1 this weekend and maybe your expectations for it.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of people in Nashville made comments on the resin. I felt like I could feel it a little bit in practice, not necessarily the race, where some of my other teammates felt like they could feel it in the race. So I didn't really notice it a ton compared to the PJ1 that gets laid down at a Bristol or something. It takes, I noticed that it was immediately like a little bit more grip in practice, where you go to Bristol, another concrete track, and takes, I don't know, 10, 15 laps of running on it to get the heat activated. So need to run on it more. It'll be interesting with them putting it over where the PJ1 last year was at Michigan. I think it should open up some more opportunity and more lanes, but I like Michigan. I like the track. It's really a two-groove racetrack, and I think it will open up a third lane. We kind of got to wait and see what it'll do, but it's going to be interesting. It's going to take a few laps to feel out. I was joking. We were prepping yesterday with my teammate Sam Mayer over at Josh Wise's office, looking at film and everything. I was like, "Hey, you want to go try the resin out first? Let me know how it goes. And if you wreck, I know it's not ready. If you're fast, I know it's ready." So he didn't think that was too funny, but yeah, it was kind of an unknown going into this weekend, and we're gonna try our best. I definitely like moving up the racetrack any chance I get, and hopefully that'll make it'll enable us to do that.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from Dustin Long. Go ahead, Dustin.
Thank you. No, along those same lines, are there any concerns, and you referenced a little bit, that the resin is being put over the PJ1, and also just that what we saw at Nashville, that was a concrete track, this is an asphalt track. Any concerns about how it might react in a different situation? I mean, how are you going to drive the first few laps?
I'm gonna drive it like I would if there wasn't any PJ1 or resin down. We go to Homestead and you move up the racetrack. I don't want to be the first guy to move up there. Earlier this year, let Tyler Reddick get up to the wall, dust it off. So I think I'm going to have that same strategy going into this weekend. Let a few guys make it work. Hopefully, if they make it work, and then I can tag along. But you're going to know when guys are up there if it's working or if it's not, because they're either going to be wrecking or they're going to be hauling ass. So we're going to see. But yeah, just kind of trying to play the waiting game, be the third or fourth guy up there once we see kind of what it does. And, who knows? We might not get up there. It's too hard to tell. I don't like to jump to conclusion before something happens. I'm kind of opinionated about it, and have an open mind going into it. So I don't really know if it's going to be good or bad, but we're just going to have to wait and see.
Certainly, we've seen PJ1 used a lot of tracks, and still would be. You look at some of the playoff tracks. It was used last year, and even earlier this year at Texas, and was used and also at Phoenix. So, in light of that, is if resin starts to work, or what you saw at Nashville, are PJ1's days numbered in the sport?
They did something different every week, I feel like. So I don't know. You can never say never in the sport, but I don't mind the PJ1. I've kind of learned how it works, and I wouldn't say chemical formula, but how the heat affects it and how the rubber affects it, how the amount of laps affects it. So I feel like we have a pretty good notebook at Phoenix, but we're just gonna have to wait and see what NASCAR does. But I don't mind the PJ1 at all. I don't have a problem at all with it, and just gotta see what happens.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from Bob Pockris. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, Noah, first, what do you hope to accomplish over the next 5 races to get ready for the playoffs?
I feel like we're a team capable of running in the top 5. It's just we've had so much stupid little things take us out of contention. And I feel like our bad days are really the only days that we're finishing races, you know. Our team's been working extremely hard. The guys in the motor shop have been working extremely hard to figure out the problems on that side. Everyone's working their tails off, but I don't know if there's one thing that I could really pinpoint. I don't really know if we're a championship favorite right now. We haven't been close to winning these last few months, which kind of stinks, but our team morale's up. My confidence is up. I know when I get to the racetrack and that's why we go. We know we'll have a shot, but it's been a rough year for us. So it's flown by. I was talking to the engineers earlier this morning, and they're like, this is going to be race 22 of 33 coming up. And I'm like, dang, it's flown by. I feel like because we told ourselves every weekend it's going to get better, it's going to get better. And they kind of just tick by. But I know we have a great team when playoffs come. I know we'll have good speed, and really fortunate to be racing here at Junior Motorsports to end this year out, and just trying to ultimately focus on everything I can do week in and week out to be better for this race team to get us to the Final Four in Phoenix.
And with the Josh Berry announcement that he's going full time at JRM, did that impact anything as far as your talks with JRM or what you're trying to work on for next year?
I don't really have a comment on that. Everybody's working their tails off. And I'm really thankful for everybody at Junior Motorsports and everybody behind me, my team, who believes in me, and just focus on the rest of the season.
And you talk about working with Josh Wise. Is he talking any smack after winning a race last weekend?
No, he did a good job. He's a really humble guy. He's awesome, and I think everybody who's been working with him over the past 2-3 years, we know how much it means to him, just because the same stuff that he's telling us and trying to implement into us drivers, it's almost like if he could redo his career, this is the stuff he would do and apply to himself. And so with that being said, everything he preaches to us, he went out there and did, and it paid off. And it was really cool to just know how hard he works for us drivers. And we know the importance that it means to him to get back in the car. I think the most important thing to Josh, talking to him Monday morning, was having his daughters there and having them be able to see him win, because he said he's always tell a story to them about how he's just some old guy who used to win races, and I don't know how much they really believe, but to get them there, he said it was really special.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Our next question will come from Ashley McCubbin. Go ahead, Ashley.
Hey, Noah, thanks for your time today. How frustrating has it been to continue to come close to getting that win and still having not broken through this year?
It's extremely frustrating, but we keep on pushing hard each and every week, working hard throughout the week, and get closer and just try and do the best job possible.
And with each week and knowing we're getting closer to the playoffs, what do you feel you and your team can continue to improve upon to be the best that you can be when it matters this season?
Kind of same thing I answered earlier. Just try and focus on what we can do, work hard, and I know we have good cars in playoffs, good tracks, and really just trying to focus on being better each and every day.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next question will come from Nathan Solomon. Go ahead, Nathan.
Hey Noah, so with Josh Berry going full time, I'm just curious, how much do you feel that a couple wins down the stretch here would play in terms of your future next year? You know, whether it's with JRM, whether it's with another Xfinity team, whether it's in the Cup Series. So how much do you think that, you know, getting hot here down the stretch and making a deep playoff run would affect your future in 2022?
Well, my focus is trying to win races each and every race all year long, and I know we have the team capable of doing it. I feel capable of doing it. I feel like we have cars capable of doing it, and we're hungry. But I think it's only thumbs up if you're winning races. Can't really argue with guys who are winning races no matter what they're doing, and we just haven't been doing that this year. So it's been frustrating, but I definitely would love that, and I don't know how much it'll affect my future, but I don't think it'll hurt.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Any additional questions for Noah? Chris Knight, go ahead.
Hey Noah, hope you're doing good, buddy. I was just curious how you felt about no practice and no qualifying and where you stand on that. Is it beneficial since everybody's in the same playing field, and is it something that you'd like to see continue, or do you think that it's important to bring back practice and qualifying?
I don't really care for the practice or qualifying. I think there's different sides of it, but my argument is it saves a lot of money for the teams, and you know, it kind of shows who's got the cojones on the first lap and who can go sail it off into turn one, and you know, you can make up a lot of spots or you can lose a lot, and so you really have to prepare well as a team. You really have to make good in-car adjustments throughout the race, or good pit stop adjustments, I should say. So you know, when you get a bunch of time to work on it, for myself personally, I tend to mess up the balance of the race car than how we unload, and we normally go back to how we unload. So it's kind of pointless for me, but at the end of the day, I don't really have much of a say on any of that stuff. It's up to NASCAR, but I am A-okay not having practice and qualifying. I think it saves a lot of time, money, and just extra things week in and week out. And once you get to the racetrack with tires and wrecking race cars and whatnot, you don't have to prepare a backup car and everything. So I'd be okay if we didn't do qualifying unless we went to Daytona and Talladega. Then I want to qualify because we want to run the 62 Beard Oil Cup car. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, or kind of, you know, there's both pros and cons to it.
All right, thanks, Noah. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from Stephen Toronto. Go ahead, Stephen.
No, I actually wanted to follow up on what you just said about Beard Motorsports. I know they haven't attempted a race since the Daytona 500, and with respect to the Beard family circumstances, exactly what are that team's plans, not only for the fall but also potentially for 2022 with the next gen car coming in?
I can't really answer that question fully, just because I don't know. I know they want to race this year, but I mean, we're kind of stuck in a box where we were transferred into the Daytona 500 and got wrecked with 2 laps to go, with the 2 and the 53 or whatever it was. So that really hurt us, and not being able to go run more of those races because we don't have any points this year. So you can either buy somebody else's points and spend a lot of money doing that, or earn it and get in the first place. But you know, it's just unfortunate circumstances that have kept us out this year. But you know, we're hungry to get back, no matter what the deal is. I know they want to run Daytona. If they could qualify at Daytona, we would have. If you can qualify and race at Talladega, I'm sure we would have as well. But that's solely up to them and what they want to do. The Beard family's been great for me. I just saw them a couple of weeks ago during the the 2-week break for the Olympics and got to talk to Miss Beard and whatnot, and just kind of figure out what they want to do. But ultimately, it was great seeing them, and they'll always be a part of my family, and I hope to be a part of their family till the day I die.
Gotcha. Thank you, Noah.
Thanks.
Our next question will come from Adam with racingrefresh.com. Go ahead, Adam.
Hi, Noah. Thanks for your time today. You said earlier that you're maybe not a championship favorite, but what sort of expectations do you have for yourself for the playoffs? Or I guess what would make 2021 a successful season for you?
Win the championship, that's it. If we're in, it's a failure if you don't win the championship. You can't deposit excuses. You just gotta try and make it happen. Obviously stuff happens, but it's been a failure so far this year, I think. And result wise, I think we're a good team. We've led laps. We've been in the top 5. We've been good, but nobody really sees that. They just see, just a little bit of success, and it's a great year. So, we've been fast. We've been one of the best cars each and every week, and it's just the reality of it. So, I think winning the championship is the only thing to make it successful.
Thanks, Noah.
Thank you.
We'll circle back to Dustin Long for another question. Go ahead, Dustin.
Thank you. Hey, Noah, last week at Indy, obviously that first lap where a few cars were swung out wide and hit that curb off of 6 and damaged their cars. People talked about, you really can't see as much when you're stacked up like that in a car. So how did you handle that the rest of the race in trying to, avoid that on any kind of starts or restarts? Did you ever have any close calls with that curbing and off of 6, or even with the curbing that had issues in the Cup race the next day?
Well, my issue wasn't the blue and white curbing. My whole issue with the weekend was them putting the orange curbing down in 4 Exodus, or 5 Exodus 6, 8, 9, 10. They promote a race all year of what we did last year in the closing laps. And then you just eliminate 2 wide racing by putting those orange turtles down, which didn't make much sense to me at all. You used to be able to run 2 wide through there. And last year, if I'm not mistaken, we didn't have very many wrecks through that chicane. And you go there this year. Only change they make is putting those orange things down. It eliminated the 2 wide racing through the S's. It eliminated the potential of 2 wide racing through the chicane on the backstretch 5 and 6. It was a disaster, and I don't really see the idea or the logic in putting that in with it being such a good race last year. If it was a bad race last year, and why would you make change it? You would make change if it was a bad race, but it was a great race. So that's what I'm a bit frustrated on, and it really hurt the racing this year is putting those orange curves down. You just couldn't hit them, and couldn't race 2 wide, and so that was definitely frustrating. But to answer your question about the blue and white turtles that everybody were hitting and getting their splitter stuck, I don't know if that was just a Cup car deal or what it was, but it seemed like to me the Cup cars are a bit lower. I don't know if the no ride height rule, not saying they need to change that, but I don't know if that was the reason or not, or I don't know all the scenarios on why everybody's stuff was getting torn up with that curbing, but I didn't have any problem with that curbing at all in our race.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dustin.
Well, Noah, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon, and good luck this weekend at Michigan.
Thank you, Samantha.